Was that loud? We loud.
Right. We weren't loud enough.
In honor of our Vice President, today we are wearing pearls and chucks.
Who am I that you are mindful of me, that you hear me when I call?
Is it true that you are thinking of me? How you love me? It's amazing. Who am I, Lord?
Who am I that you are mindful of me, that you hear me,
That you hear me
when I call?
when I call.
Is it true that you are thinking of me,
Thinking of me,
how you love me?
how you love me.
It's amazing.
I am a friend of God.
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 I am a friend of God. God calls me friend. I am a friend of God.
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 I am a friend of God. God calls me friend. Who am I that you are mindful of me, that you hear me when I call?
Is it true that you're thinking of me? How you love me? It's amazing.
It's amazing.
It's amazing.
It's amazing.
I am a friend of God.
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 I am a friend of
I am a friend of God. He calls me friend.
God calls me friend. I am a friend.
I am a friend of God.
My darkest
I
hour.
am a friend of God.
In my time of need.
I am a friend of God.
God calls me friend. Oh, oh, yeah. God Almighty, God Almighty, God of glory, you have called me friend. Help me sing it. God Almighty, God Almighty, God of glory, you have called me friend. You called me friend. God Almighty, God of glory, oh, you have called me.
great day to be alive. Right? Give yourself a great big hand because you decided to still be here on this planet at this particular time. We want to welcome you to the most innovative, electrifying, energetic spiritual campus in the world. We just keep stepping into that, because that is our prayer. That is the way that we are invoking the power. And that would be my question to you this week in your prayer. Are you praying that things just stay kind of the same, or like the cycle on a washing machine? Are you praying for normal? Or are you praying to be out there, to grow into the space that is your destiny, to move into a place because your dreams are waiting on you to come true? So are you invoking a greater you? You'll catch yourself sometime as you're declaring, God, do this, do that, do that, do that. Prayers don't change God. Who do prayers change? Thank you. Us, me, yous, and all of them people. Let us stand together and align ourselves with our history of the Fillmorian teaching and stating the great invocation. We are now in the presence of pure being and immersed in the Holy Spirit of life, love, and wisdom. We acknowledge thy presence and thy power, O blessed Spirit. And thy divine wisdom now erase our mortal limitations, and from thy pure substance of love, bring into manifestation our world according to thy perfect law. It's asking us to come from a place of divine wisdom. For when you are in divine wisdom, you're not into the wisdom of your personality. You're not into the wisdom of your ego. In aligning with divine wisdom, you are tapping into your soul. You're also tapping into the soul of the earth. So we encourage you to join us on firstunity.org. And we are live with any event that we offer here, and you can go to our homepage and find out our various activities on our calendar. We're also extremely excited because we have a mobile app that will do everything but serve you food. And it will do everything. So you want to go to the Apple Store or to Google Play and download that so you can keep up with us in whatever way you are called to. We created last year a university online. It's spirituality with a shamanic flair to just really tune in to creating bold and dynamic leadership. And so please go and check us out. I'm so thrilled that my buddy, a man in my heart, Vincent Genna, will be joining us later as he is one of the chosen by our team as being one of the influencers that is impacting our society right here and right now. So bless you, Vincent. We're so looking forward to hearing you later.
Welcome to sing with us today, our bassist, our bass player, Richmond.
God
pour out
my heart.
my heart to you.
Here in your presence, God.
Here in your presence, I am made new.
So glad you know my name. Since before the beginning of the world, you know my name. You know my name. Before I was even born, God,
You know my
you know my name. And how you walk with me. How you talk with me. Yeah. I love how you tell me
how you tell me
that I am yours. Oh, God, you know me, yeah. So I trust you with my life, yeah. God, no fire can burn me, no battle can turn me, no mountain can stop me, 'cause you hold my hand. I'm walking
in your victory. There's no power is within me. No giant is within me. But you hold my hand. No fire can burn me. No battle can turn me. No mountain can stop me. But you hold my hand. 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 You hold my
You know my name. Oh, how you walk every day. You walk with me every day. You talk with me.
Oh, how you talk with me.
And I love how you tell me.
Oh, how you tell
Oh, yeah.
that I am yours.
Well, I tell you, what a beautiful song, yes? Give us some of those comments on Facebook or social media or YouTube. We love hearing from you. But what a song and what an invitation that your name is known. But write your name in rocks. Grow into the power of your name. There's a story of Jesus and Moses, and Jesus invited Moses to go and play golf. And so they're out at the golf course, and they come up on a big body of water. And so Moses said to Jesus, he said, which club are you going to use? And Jesus said, well, I'm going to use the 5-iron. And Moses says, you're going to use the 5-iron? He said, oh, yeah. He said that, Arnold Palmer says, that would work. So Jesus steps back, and he And he hits that ball and ball goes right into the water. So Moses doing what Moses does, and Jesus, they parted the water. And Moses went down and got the ball for Jesus. And he came back and set him up again. He said, okay, now, which club are you going to use? And Jesus says, well, Arnold Palmer says to use the 5-iron. So he pulls it up, comes that 5-iron, goes right in the water. So Jesus doing what Jesus does, he starts walking across the water to get the ball. Well, by this time, a crowd had started to gather, and they yell out, who does he think he is, Jesus Christ? And Moses said, no, he thinks he's Arnold Palmer. So 2 messages there. Be yourself. No one can do it the way that you are destined to do it. Know your name and live into that awareness of your name. And remember, most importantly, in this 2021 energy of this is the greatest moment that we've ever lived, never sacrifice your sense of humor. Because laughter is the best medicine you can give your soul. Bless you.
Yeah, here we go. Your name is Victory today. In 2021,
I've got evidence.
I've got confidence.
I got confidence.
I'm a conqueror.
I'm a conqueror.
I know that I win. I know who I am.
I know who I am.
God wrote it in the plan.
God wrote it in the plan.
Just for me.
For me.
Now come on, sing. Oh,
Oh, oh, oh.
my name is.
My name is Victory.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, oh,
My name is.
my name is Victory.
Come on, let's sing it again. You know it. Come on, sing it with us. I've got evidence.
I've got evidence.
I've got confidence.
Confidence.
I'm a conqueror.
Conqueror.
I know that I win. Yeah, I know.
I know who I am.
God wrote it.
God wrote it in the plan
For me.
for me.
Sing it again. Oh, my name is.
My name is Victory. My name is Victory.
Let me tell you what happened. God gave me authority over the enemy. God wrote in my destiny that my name is
Victory.
God said that I
Overcome.
I know I've
Already won.
God wrote in my
Destiny.
that my name is
Victory. I know who I am.
God wrote it.
God wrote it in the plan for me.
Oh.
Oh,
say victory. Victory. This past week, I was in Atlanta, and I was watching the inauguration and celebrating our first African-American female vice president. Yay! I don't care what your party affiliation is, especially if you're a woman, you should be very proud of that. But I watched the special that night. I think they called that Celebration of America or whatever. Tom Hanks was interviewing it or hosting it. And he was standing out on the steps of the Lincoln Memorial. And a number of years ago, I stood in the very same place that Tom Hanks was standing. He had Lincoln behind him, and they did a camera shot looking exactly at what I saw the morning I was standing there. I worked in film and television, and I was there doing a TV show. And I was standing there because we had a 2:30 a.m. call because they only allow you to film in that location for a certain period of time. But our production stopped, and we all faced the Washington Monument. As the sun came up, we stood there looking at the radiant sunshine. And the other night, as I was watching that memory came back to me. And I ask you to place both feet on the floor. And go with me as I visualize that sunset coming up over the Washington Monument. Because it reminded me of the glory of God. The sunshine was coming down, beaming, glowing on each of our faces who stood there, and we represented all walks of life. But it was the glory of God that was shining down on my face, as it still does every day. And a tear trickled down my cheek this past week as I remembered, and God gave me a message in my heart that I know is from someone out there. The glory of God shines on forever. We are victory because the glory of God continues to make us victorious. So I ask you to take a deep breath in. And as I often say, that's the universe, that's God, that source kissing you, just like the sun was kissing our face that morning. And exhale. That exhales you living your life victoriously. And I say to you today without reservation, you may feel like you're in a dark place or in a dark point of your life, but know that sun shines whether it's day or night. So know that the glory of God, wherever you are, shines on you. God knows your name, and you are victorious. So walk in that victory. Thank you very much. So it is.
Everything's gonna be all right. Oh,
right. It's certainly all right now, yes? I tell you, there are many influencers that our team picks throughout last year and moving into this year that I don't know. But I'm proud to say that I do know Vincent Genna. He is in my heart. He is a difference maker. He is a model. He walks his talk. He has been my confidant. I've been his. His family watches our community. We are at times his spiritual place, and that's probably what I honor about him the most, because he comes from the place of, as long as we are living, we are always growing and learning. He and his beloved wife Eileen have been married since what? You were 20. They have a beautiful dog, Finley. Just amazing human beings. So he is a spiritual leader. He is a mystic healer. He's an author. For almost 4 decades, he's helped thousands of people around the world unlock and release their passions and purpose and transform their lives through his inspiring radio and television interviews. He's a dynamic and loving keynote. He does many presentations and workshops and private sessions. He is authentic in every way, and he's a gifted psychic medium with the knowledge and experience of psychotherapist, because he has his license as a psychotherapist. And he has this huge, fitted in a room, amazing, big, charming personality of a showman. Oh, yes, he does. And he offers his audience and his clients the opportunity for deep emotional healing, radical spiritual awakenings, and the key to make everything they attempt work. I honor you. I bless you. My heart is excited that you are with us, Vincent Genna.
Oh my goodness, Temple. Thank you so much, Reverend Temple, for that beautiful introduction, for you and the team inviting me here. This is amazing. First Unity Campus, you're incredible. You're such wonderful spiritual food, especially in the world today, with your unbelievable band, your amazing choir, and all the speakers, the prayers, the meditations, and of course, your talks, Temple. You are a smorgasbord of spiritual food, and I am so thrilled and honored to be but a small dish today in the food that you are serving. So thank you so much. And I think I just got myself hungry. Yeah, we're talking about smorgasbords. So what I wanted to be able to talk about today is spiritual food. And we understand, as Temple was saying, is that we take in that spiritual food to constantly grow. We want to evolve. We want to grow that spirit, right? And so, but we also have to understand that there are 2 other elements to who we are as beings. We're also mind and body. And certainly this past year, last year, 2020, we all know what we needed to do with the body. We needed to certainly up the game and take care of it and get enough rest and increase the immune system and all those wonderful things in order to get strong. And we used to do that beforehand, before we had this pandemic as well, because we have to take care of the body. And so today I, though, wanted to focus on the other part of who we are, the mind, and a very important part as well. And we understand that just taking care of the spirit and just taking care of the body is not enough to get us to where we want to go. We have to take care of all 3 parts of us. That would be like taking care of your right arm and your right leg, but not your left, or your hips from the top of your body, or just taking care of the blood that goes through you, or just the heart alone. You have to take care of all of you. And so why I bring up the mind, and I just want to take the spirit and just put it aside momentarily. I'm going to bring it in just a little bit and take the body and just put that aside. And let's focus on the mind for a moment. A lot of times we think, and especially now and all through the stress that we've been going through, that taking care of the mind is meditating and reducing stress, and also changing the way that you think and your behaviors. And that is what you do with the mind. And you take care of your emotions, your feelings, you grab hold of them. And that's all well and good, and we're supposed to do all of that. However, unless you are aware of the other anomalies that go on in your mind, the other work that you do on the body and especially on spirit don't work. And what do I mean by this? So let me just go back and do a little psychology here and remind you. Behind me, over here, I've got an image, a pyramid, which is what psychologists have used to kind of describe the image of the mind. Another image that they use is an iceberg. And the reason why they use a pyramid is because of the levels of the mind. And it starts with the conscious on the top. Ignore the two brown sections momentarily. And then you have the subconscious, and then you have the unconscious mind, which is down on the bottom. Right? And the reason why it's a pyramid, because believe it or not, did you know that only 2 to 5% of the entire mind is in conscious awareness? Conscious awareness. That means that 95 to 98% of your entire mind is in unconscious awareness. You have no idea what's going on in there. And believe me, if you look at the world today and see the way some people are acting, I don't think they know what's going on in there either. So you can see that as an example in the world today, but in you yourself don't know what's going on in there. And that's the reason why I do the work that I do. So what does that exactly mean by not knowing what's going on in there? Why is that so important? Well, why it's so important is because, for the most part, you don't believe what you think you believe. Now, how can I come to say that? Well, I'll put it to you this way. We've been taught spiritually that we're unlimited beings. We're connected to source. We're connected to spirit. We're capable of manifesting and creating the lives that we want. But if you look at your own life right now, use that as a barometer. How much are you actually creating, and how much more do you want to create that you're not creating? And maybe many of you out there are not creating or manifesting at all. And this is the reason why I am talking about this today, because there are processes that are going on in your mind that you are unaware of that are stopping you from creating the life you want. Thus, my talk, stop stopping yourself. The rest of it is, and become unstoppable. And this is actually but a very small, abbreviated version of my workshop, which is in ILI, in the ILI program that Temple had invited me to do. But I wanted to bring this to you to feed you some new understanding and information, only so you yourself can continue to create and manifest what you want, what you desire, what you deserve. So let's talk about those levels of the mind there. Now, the conscious mind, a little tiny part way at the top there, that's the part that's in your total control. That's your thinking, your conscious thinking. Directly below that is the subconscious mind. Now, there are supposed to be aspects of your mind that you're not in control of. But if you think about it momentarily, if you had to control your breathing or your heart beating, oh my gosh, with all the things we have to do today, we'd all be dead. Oh yeah, forget it. I just about get my honey-do list done. No less get my heart to beat. No less have to worry about breathing, right? So there is that automatic part that takes over to help us with that, to help the human body with that. But it also helps with automatic thinking and automatic responding. And we're going to talk more about that. Now, let's skip those other two layers that I have in here and go down to the bottom, the unconscious part. Sigmund Freud actually labeled that unconscious part because that is actually the place where knowing takes place, understanding takes place. And then his student, Carl Jung, took it a step further and said, that is the superconscious mind. It's where the soul's mind resides. It's what connects us to the collective unconscious or the mind of God. Because everybody is connected to that source, that ability. And the way he was able to come up with that understanding is he was able to ask a person in Japan what the word mother means to him or her. And then he was able to ask a person in the United States, well, what does mother mean to you? And both of them, on opposite sides, on opposite places of the world, who have never spoken to each other, came up with the exact same answer. So to Carl Jung, that was an understanding that, wait a minute, if the only way that they can come up with the same understanding is if they're connected together someplace. And that is the collective unconscious mind. And he called it also the mind of God, because that's also the knowing of higher choices and lower choices, good and bad. And then there were philosophers that pulled off of that understanding, Thomas Locke. And then there was Thomas Edison, John Locke. Thomas Edison pulled from John Locke, the philosopher, in creating the Declaration of Independence. And the knowing, the unalienable rights he was referring to, is the knowing that we are connected to a place where all people know that we were created equal. That information, that mind of God. So that is where you are being fed your understanding, your guidance, your knowing. Another name for that area then can also be used. Your intuition is stored there. So why do I have those other two layers there? The environmental made mind is the EMM, and then the adult made mind, which is the AMM. Well, I'll tell you, this is what my work for over 37 years has come to understand. From birth, you receive messages from your environment. And actually, you start receiving those messages in utero before you're even born. Doctors today, they advise pregnant mothers to play soft music, talk to the baby, because that baby that is growing inside her is actually absorbing. It's the energy. Well, we understand that now. We have a better understanding of that. So children absorb from the environment, and they start forming beliefs from the messages they're receiving. Good beliefs about themselves and negative beliefs about themselves. And so what winds up happening, the brain has to put those beliefs, or what the messages that are coming in a certain place. Now, the bottom portion of the mind where your soul resides is all positive. When your soul comes in, it's filled with all positive understanding. And positive and negative to the brain is like oil and vinegar. They don't mix. So what the brain does is it creates another captive area, another holding port, right? Another compartment. And I labeled it the environmental made mind now. And why I call it the environmental made mind is because as children, the environment is causing those beliefs there. Unfortunately, the majority of them wind up being maladaptive beliefs. That's right. Because even though we may be receiving some positive messages, if you really think about it, and the world has been kind of off path, especially in children growing up, we receive a lot of negative messages. How many times have we heard no versus how many times have we heard yes? How many times have we heard, oh, you could have gotten an A on that instead of a B, or you didn't do good enough, or why do you act like that? And all the plethora of negative messages, well, those feed into the brain, and whatever feeds into the brain does not go away. You should know that by now. No matter how old you are an accumulation of your entire lifetime, your entire experiences. And so the brain created a compartment for that I call the EMM. And that's where all your maladaptive beliefs harbor. And to simplify that, I also call them the I'm not beliefs. I'm not good enough. I'm not beautiful enough. I'm not smart enough. I'm not worthy enough. I'm not lovable. Whatever the enough that you form, it's harbored in that portion of the mind. So this is one of the anomalies that goes on in the part that you're unaware of. And you're going through life and you don't know that there's this special compartment that's holding on. Maybe every so often you hear a negative self-comment. You may hear messages from that. And in the meantime, your soul's mind is trying to get the truth up to your conscious mind to tell you you're magnificent, you're divine, you're fabulous, you're light, you're beautiful. But this is what happens next then as you grow up and your brain starts to develop. Well, your brain has two highest functions. Every human brain, two highest functions. One, to keep us alive. Two, to protect us. That's how it keeps us alive. Now, to protect us, we understand how it protects us physically, especially last year or even now with the coronavirus. One of the symptoms of the coronavirus is a fever. Well, actually, it's not the coronavirus that is causing the fever. Not at all. It is your brain attempting to protect you that is causing the fever. It raises your body temperature purposely to make it an unlivable environment for the virus. Now, it's not paying attention that raising the fever is making you uncomfortable also. And if the fever goes high enough, it can actually kill you. It's not paying attention to that. Its priority is to get rid of the intruder, which is the virus. Another way physically that the brain protects us is when you pass out. Okay, when you pass out, that is the brain purposely making you lay down flat to take in more oxygen because your body required more oxygen. It is not paying attention to the fact that you just climbed Mount Everest and ran out of air at the top and it made you pass out and you fall off the cliff and boom, that's it, you're gone. It doesn't pay attention to that. It just knows your body needs oxygen. So if it protects us physically, then what does it do to protect us emotionally? Because certainly walking around through life with the feelings of I'm not good enough, I'm not lovable, I'm not smart enough, I'm not deserving are very painful feelings. So what the brain does then is create a new set of beliefs to shield you and protect you from your original set of beliefs. And those are called usually defense mechanisms. Freud came up with 10 different defense mechanisms, including projection, regression, suppression, sublimination, all of those, right, that he came up with an understanding that your brain must protect itself and you. So you have this new set of beliefs you're walking around in, and those new set of beliefs are harbored in what I call the adult-made mind. Now, why I say the adult-made mind is because now you're responsible, because you're an adult now, your brain supposedly is developed, and it winds up creating these new beliefs. New beliefs like, wait a minute, it's not that I'm not good enough, it's that he's not good enough. Or she's not good. I didn't get the raise this year because of my boss. He's terrible. Oh my gosh, the economy is horrible. That's why I can't get along financially. And here we go with all those beliefs, forgetting completely that we are manifestors. We don't want to believe that. Even in love and romance, it's my partner's fault. We had such a great relationship and he changed, she changed, and I had to leave him, get a divorce, whatever. Those are all new beliefs that we wind up creating because it's too painful to say, I'm not lovable, I'm not good enough. Now, we have to understand, and I'm sure you do, that none of those maladaptive beliefs are true. We're children when we're forming them, and we misinterpret. And just because our parents may have had a hard time in their lives, or our teachers, or our siblings, or any adult, or the environment that we were raised in, we can't sit there and say, oh, wait a minute, there's problems out there. It has nothing to do with me. I'm magnificent. I'm divine. I'm a child of God. Right? We don't have the wherewithal to be able to do that. So we're taking in and we're interpreting the way we are treated as being lovable, as being worthy, as being good enough or not. And they stay with us, which is the reason why the brain needs to create defense mechanisms and the AMM, the adult-made mind, because we don't get rid of those feelings. Now, just because we're one and we now become two, and then we become three, and then we become 20, and we become 30 and 40, and if, like me, you turn 5 years old, was 65, I'm not ashamed to say that. I didn't turn 65 years old. I'm not 65 years old. I have an accumulation of 65 years. And you have an accumulation of however many years you are. An accumulation, which means those original set of beliefs are still in you. Okay, let's talk about the spirit now. Let's bring that back in. Well, now you can be taught, or you may be learning that if you just focus on the spirit, you can forget about all of that. It's just the spirit that will change things. It's just your learning that you're unlimited, that you are a part of God, and that's all you have to do. But I want you to envision this momentarily. I want you to envision a whiteboard, you know, that you write on, right? You got this whiteboard, envision it for yourself. And I want you to put on that whiteboard every single negative feeling you may have ever felt growing up that you can remember, or even now. Write it in your mind, write it across there. I can assure you, I know for me, that whiteboard wouldn't be white anymore by the time I'm done, and I'll be overlapping on top of it. It probably isn't big enough to write all the negative feelings I have ever felt about myself, about life, about everybody else, about the world, right? It is completely filled with black. Okay. Now, here's a misunderstanding that people are having about going on a spiritual path. So we read the books, we come to these beautiful spiritual centers, we listen to such beautiful words, we take lectures and workshops and programs to help develop that. And so it's like taking these pretty beautiful pictures now and pasting it on top of the whiteboard, the affirmations on top of the whiteboard. Forget that stuff that you've written there. Paste it on top now. Pretty bunnies, anything that represents something positive that you have learned, right? I like bunnies. They're cute. They remind me of Easter, and Easter reminds me of Easter candy, and I'm getting hungry again. See, and right away, it's food for me. I'm Italian. What do you expect? So you're pasting all of those beautiful pictures on top. And now you're walking around thinking that, okay, I got it. I understand. I'm doing exactly what I'm supposed to be doing. I'm affirming the positive. I am changing my thought. Boom, boom, another picture. That's wonderful. That's fabulous. And then I ask you this question. Have you gotten rid of all the negative thoughts? All those negative feelings? No, you have not. You've only covered them up. You've processed everything in your adult-made mind. So you certainly didn't get rid of the environmental-made mind with all those maladaptive beliefs. They're behind the pictures. Why is that so important now to understand? Because your connection to spirit, your connection to the force, to the power, to the law of attraction, whatever you want to call it, is not within your conscious mind, the 2 to 5%. It's impossible. It couldn't be there, because if it was there, the moment you had a thought, boom, something would happen. And right now, half the world would be billionaires from winning the lottery. The other half would be dead just from the thoughts we've had. Holy moly, that would be terrible. That's not where the force is connected. The force is connected in your unconscious mind, deep down. And right now, deep down, your environmental made mind is influencing you the most. If it wasn't influencing you, you wouldn't have to create defense mechanisms. And so when you are saying and thinking, I believe I love myself, I believe I'm deserving, I believe I am good enough. No, that is not what you're believing, because if you did, everything you want to manifest, boom, would appear before you, because that is the law. You cannot affect the law affects you. And it affects you by what you feed into it. And so when you're wondering, well, why isn't the law working for me? Why am I saying, God, it's not working? I'm trying. And by the way, that's my book, which is going to be published. So we'll be looking at that. This is what my material is based off of. Everybody's saying, God, it's not working, no matter what they're trying. And the reason why is because you're not aware of what you're really believing. Because if you were, you would do everything you could to change it. And there's the answer. To do everything you can to remove what you've written on that whiteboard. And the only way you can remove it is by bringing it to the surface. Yes, I want the pretty pictures available, because the pretty pictures, the affirmations, the truth, the new thought understanding, the unity, the science of mind understanding is going to help you eliminate, not cover, eliminate. And the way you stop stopping yourself is first and foremost, admit and recognize your defense mechanisms. If at any time you can blame something, you can say it's another reason. I don't have love in my life because of my partner. If you can say your finances are bad because of the economy, if you can say your health is bad because of the pandemic, if you can say that you don't have any purpose or goal or fulfillment, or it's not been able to be fulfilled because my boss has not given me a promotion, or the way everything is going in the world today, I've lost my job, I have no place to work, then you must understand you've created a defense mechanism, because nothing happens to you because of something external. Otherwise, we would be victims. We would be victims. Yes, that is the hardest concept to understand. Yes, we are humans. We have bodies, but we're supposed to take care of those bodies. We're supposed to feed ourselves spiritual food. We're supposed to take care of our mind. And by working on all three of those at the same time, you're building up a bank account, a reserve to be able to tap into. So when a pandemic comes along, you've got your beliefs, you've got your strong physical body, your strong state of mind that gets you through that stuff. But you can't get through this stuff if you're not willing to dig deep down and bring to the surface what you're truly believing. So the first step was admitting you have defense mechanisms. The moment you do that, you start to disempower them. Wow. I did throughout my life. Everywhere I wanted to go in my life, things were happening, and then they wouldn't happen. They would stop. And it took me a while to learn this, but I finally learned it, where I turned around and I said, okay, how am I stopping myself? What are my beliefs that I'm not facing? And the moment I did that, I was allowing and giving permission to those deep down maladaptive beliefs in my environmental made mind to come out. Yeah, little Vinny was tormented most of his life as a youth, up until I was 17 years old. I was chased every day from school, very bullied, picked on, beat up, shoved in lockers, head flushed in toilets, thrown in dumpsters, peed on, spit on. And then when I got home, because mom had mental pathologies, I used to get beat at home all the time. Yes, I was sexually molested. Let's throw that all in there as well. So little Vinny wants to tell me, little Vinny down there, I'm 65 years old and little Vinny is still trying to influence me. And you can't get rid of your little. You don't want to get rid of your little person. You want to use your little person. You want to adore your little person, because that's all of who you are. That's like trying to get rid of your mind and your body and just live off of your spirit. You're not going to do that. If you want to do that, then you don't need to be here. You be on the other side just as a spirit. But as long as you're here, you're choosing to be here so that you can live all the gestalt of who you are, all of who you are. So I have to honor little Vinny. And I have to reparent little Vinny, and I have to keep reminding little Vinny how wonderful you are. But as long as he keeps speaking, then I can recognize what's getting in the way, and I let him speak. You have to let your little person speak and let you know what's in there so you can acknowledge it. Yeah, you may turn around and you say, holy cow, I cannot believe I still don't think I'm good enough. But you know what? Thank goodness I know what it is that can be getting in my way. So instead of we feel bad about feeling bad. Yeah, we feel bad about mistakes we've made. We feel bad about stupid things we've done. And let's admit it, we've done stupid things, okay? We're here to experience ourselves, good and the stupid. Okay, I hate using that word, but it really is true. I saw a meme on a church sign one day on Facebook. It says, yes, everything happens for a reason, and sometimes the reason is you made a stupid choice. I love that. We have to be able to look at ourselves and accept all of who we are and love all of who we are, including the lower choices. Okay, so in our spiritual world, we want to say, well, there is no bad choice. I'm sorry. There are bad choices, okay? Walking around in a crowd without a mask right now and not cleaning yourself is a stupid choice. It's like standing out in the middle of the street expecting you're not going to get hit by a car. What do you think Jesus meant when he said, don't tempt the Lord thy God? He wasn't talking about the temptations that the Pharisees were trying to make him prove that he was, the Son of God. He was talking in general about us. Look, you're living a physical life. You don't need to try to prove you're divine. You don't need to try to walk across the water. You got ships. That's why you built them. Yeah, you can do it, but chances are right now you're not going to be able to. Yeah, chances are you could stand in the middle of the street in a Mack truck and go through you, but right now, no. So as long as there's things going on, you pay attention to that. So pay attention to your mind as well and what could be getting in the way, because you deserve a divine life. Disempower the defense mechanism. Acknowledge there's stuff going on in there you're unaware of and let it surface. And don't feel bad about what surfaces. You can never relive a pain. You can only create a new pain from the memory of it. So that's up to you. That's a choice. I can speak every one of my torments and not feel anything bad again, because I've taken care of the pain and I'm not going to recreate a new one. Face yourself, deal with yourself, bring it to the surface, and know those are the only things that are getting in your way, and you can create and manifest all you want because you deserve it. You are magnificent beings. Stop stopping yourself and become unstoppable. And understand always, your mind, body, and spirit. And you cannot work in this life, in this physical world, on one without working on them all. And let me tell you something, there's nothing better and greater than doing this work of self-love. Here's a saying that has empowered me through my entire spiritual journey that I came up with, and it fortifies me always. I love myself so much. I'm going to do whatever I need to do to experience my greatest existence here on earth because I deserve it. I'm going to do whatever I need to do. I'm going to do the work because it's divine, it's holy, it's worth it. Thank you all for being here today, for listening. Enjoy the smorgasbord of food that is being given to you. And use this time because the energy in 2021 is all about fulfillment. Fulfill your dream, fulfill your journey, keep going. You're magnificent divine beings. Thank you all at First Unity Campus here. You are my second family. Reverend Temple, you know you are my soul sister. All of you, thank you very much.
Thank you, Vincent Genna. Wow. Breathe in. Exhale. Thank you very much for blessing us today. Oh my goodness. I was back there taking notes on my phone. I actually, as a pastor, as a reverend, I love listening to other people speak because they give you nuggets right and left because they've heard from the voice of God and they feed you just like the people feed you. Whew, that kind of got my head spinning. Take a deep breath in and exhale. What a beautiful time for you to activate what God has in store in your life. I recently was speaking to a friend of mine, and this friend of mine always lives in the doubt, lives in the lack, lives in the without, lives in the negative about their finances. And I'm going to be very bold here and say, I believe in people sometimes kind of chuckle at the prosperity message. It works. For many years in ministry, repeatedly, I've seen people who step into giving without reservation, and they were driving a Rolls Royce before the end of the year. I saw that happen. And I'm not just putting that out there that I think that you should just manifest a Rolls Royce. If the universe means for you to drive a Rolls Royce, have it. But I'm saying whatever you want in your life, put into motion. That's what he was teaching today. Put into motion. And part of that motion, part of that spiritual motion, that spiritual growth that you must have, is freely giving. Because I always say you can't receive if you can't give. In other words, if you keep your fist bound up, you can't receive because you're holding on to something, because you're living in the lack. So we are teaching to release the lack mentality. And if you have not given or been a person who has spiritually given, I encourage you to do that today. Take the time to become a Club 104 partner with us. Take the time to text to give at our telephone number 727-800-3493. We've made it as easy as apple pie. If you're on the app, you can go right down to that little yellow heart, and I believe it's about right there. Click on that little yellow heart on our app. You can give then, and you can give during the week then. If you've been blessed, and I've seen many, especially real estate agents are good about this. They get a $10,000 check for a closing. The first place they go is to their spiritual community, and they plant a seed because they know that seed is planting for the harvest that's going to come later on. And I encourage you today to walk in that mentality, to walk in that understanding that the universe is going to bless you. And let part of that blessing be giving to your spiritual community. And if you're watching us from around the world, and I think a couple of weeks ago we had the representation of about 40 countries. If we're your spiritual community, give to this community because just like today's message, you're planting seed in fertile soil. We are a maker, a shaker, and we do not apologize for it. So give today, and thank you very much.
Hi, my name is Zion Cristante. I'm the director of Youth Expressing Spirit here at First Unity Spiritual Campus. We have a wonderful community of caring, supportive families. And my family and I have recently learned about faith through living it, our own journey. So I want to tell you that story today. It's very specifically about actually how we came to Florida. Then we're going to feature one of our families sharing their own experience, real life, of living faith. And I'm going to finish my story at the end, so stick around for that. My family and I dreamed of living in a sunny, warm place with friendly people. We were living in New Jersey, and we had been there for about 6 years, and we were just feeling kind of worn down from it. So we took the time to write it all out on paper. We wrote as specifically as we could, exactly the life of our dreams. And then we took a step of faith by planning a trip. This was April 2018. We went on spring break, so the girls were out of school. We all piled in the car, and we drove south. And I remember every rest area, we felt warmer. We were like, it's warmer, there's no more snow, it's warmer. And I remember when we got to Florida, we were so ecstatic. My wife found an Airbnb and we settled in for the night. And so the next day, we ended up going to a farm because we're really into fresh food and we wanted to see what this one family had created. Well, at that farm tour, I got offered a job. And that job led to us moving here. Doesn't that sound like an amazing answer to prayer? That we had put our intention, our vision down in words on paper, and we had taken the action in faith that God would make a way for us to realize those dreams. I'm going to share part 2 of my story. It gets even better after we watch one of our families in the Youth Expressing Spirit program share about their real life experience of living faith.
So we went to the farmer's market, we went to the pier, and what do we do when we need to find a parking spot?
We pray.
And why do we do that?
Because it helps us find a parking spot.
And it helps us to feel calm in the process of finding one. And do we have faith that we're gonna find one? So we believe that we're gonna find a good spot. And do we every time? We sure do. And so that's a really simple way that we have faith, and it helps us to feel calm, it helps us to feel peaceful, it helps us to stay centered in the moment. And we found amazing parking spots, right? We found one right across from the playground, we found one right near a bathroom, right near the farmer's market.
Yep. When you believe in yourself, or you think that you can do something, you basically do it.
Mm-hmm.
And it feels good.
That's right.
Wasn't that amazingly inspiring? And I know that you and your family have a similar story of living the journey of faith. So please share it with us. Leave a message in the comments. Tell us your story. We just can't wait to hear it too. So here's part 2 of my journey to Florida. So I am now working and living, and our family has a beautiful home in St. Petersburg, Florida. But guess what happens next? I had actually prepared as a young man to be a youth minister, but I had never found the right church. It just never fit. I found an amazing church called First Unity Spiritual Campus, where we began attending, and our children and my wife and I just began feeling like we had a really supportive community. Well, I was invited to be the youth director of this church, and out of the blue, serendipity, however you want to say it, I had not only fulfilled our dreams of living in Florida, working in a dream job, and now having the opportunity to serve in a community where we felt so spiritually supported. It truly was an answer to all of our prayers, and yet we had to walk it out step by step, the journey of faith. So here today, we're just so excited to launch into this new year. Every month, we're going to be sharing stories that are from our own life and from your lives as well. We want you to share your stories with us.
manifest it. Whatever it is, you have the victory in that situation. You have to claim it with your mouth and then move on it. On your mark, you ready? I have got the victory. Come on, alto. I have got the victory. Tenors, join in. I have got the victory. We're going to declare victory in your home. I got it. I got it. I got it. Yeah, victory. All right, y'all know where we're going. Get up out of those seats. Get up off that couch. Move that coffee table. Get you some shout from I got the victory. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah. You ready? Oh, you know where we go. You know we're going to put them up and put them down. Get ready. Here we go. I got victory in my home, in my heart, in my head, in my family, on my job. I got it. I got it. I claim it. I deserve it. I want it. I got it. Victory. Victory. I'm going to dance on it. Hey. Pick them up and put them down. Here we go. Pick them up, put it down. Pick it 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 up. Down. I'm so thankful. I'm so thankful. I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful. I'm so thankful. Oh, God done. I'm so grateful. I'm so thankful. I'm so thankful. I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful. I'm so thankful. God has been so good. I'm so grateful. Hey, hey. Come on and move that table. Dance around that coffee table. Dance around that dining room table. Hey, I've got the victory. The victory. I've got the victory. The victory. I got the victory. The victory. Yeah, 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 yeah. I got victory. 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 I claim it. Victory. I declare it. I speak on it. Yeah. Victory. Victory. Yeah, 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 yeah. Woo! You can dance on it. Dance 2020 out. Dance 2021 in. Yay! Woo! Somebody needs to run on it. Hey! Hey! Woo! Yay! I have got the victory. Yeah, yeah. Victory. Come on and sing. You got the victory. Oh, yeah. Victory. I got victory. God. Victory. I've got the victory. Victory. Whoa. Victory. Woo. I got it. I've got it. Victory. The victory. I got it. Everywhere I go, yeah. Victory. Yeah, yeah, I've got it. I got it. I claim it and declare it. Victory. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I've got it.
telling you, that's some energy going on, isn't it? Wow, we are so blessed. Thank you, Vincent Genna, for sure. Our next influencer is Robert Clancy. He'll be with us on February the 21st. He is the man that represents the love vibe. Such a powerful being as well. We have coming up on February the 10th, live stream, Love is the Answer, brought to you by our ministers, our practitioners, and our ministers in training with Illy. In March, I'm doing a 3-part series called Mastermind, How Manifestors Manifest. I'm going to show you some ideas and principles I've been using since I was a teenager that brought me from the country to Carnegie Hall. And I want to share some of those moving ideas that align. It's so cool how they align so much with what Vincent was saying today. So it's a pleasure to serve you here at First Unity. If you're not being served, it's time to step up because we have plenty for you. Go to firstunity.org and look at all the things that we are offering because our staff is fully engaged. And we greet you in that consciousness from all over the world, and we thank you for your participation with us. And so now, if you would join as we sing the peace song. And peace begins right here and right now. Let us affirm together our unity prayer. The light of God surrounds us. I am the light. The love of God enfolds us. I am the love. The power of God protects us. I am the power. Presence of God watches over us. I am the presence. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. For God is amazing.
All the time.
And all the time.
God is amazing.
Stay tuned with us as we bless America, the land we are privileged to live on, that comes also with a responsibility.
Yeah. Go ahead, Eric. Here we go.